What's going on, YouTubers? This is the iPhone 6 Plus glass repair. I'm going to teach you guys how to do this if you guys want to save a little bit of money and not go to a repair shop and get the whole thing fixed. This is a pretty cost-effective way of doing it. I have some tools here. So there's some plastic razor blades, some UV glue, a couple tools just to take off the screen. I don't take off the screen in this video. This is just a glass only repair. So you're going to want to start here by heating up the phone. See, I have a heat gun here. You can use a blow dryer if you don't have a heat gun. They're pretty inexpensive. You can buy them for like 10-15 bucks. You want to keep it at around the temperature of 90 degrees. You won't burn out the screen. Anything hotter than that and you'll cause some yellow discoloration. You want to start off here by taking off that plastic bezel frame. It makes the repair a whole lot easier. This is my least favorite part about this entire repair. It's tedious. It's really easy to break the LCD while you're doing it, but once it's off, everything else is pretty much cake to take off. So just keep heating and prying and getting all along the corners. If you see here, I work on the bottom first. I don't like to work on the sides. You'll end up breaking it and you have more leverage when you're pulling there on the sides. Alright, once we got that bezel frame taken off on the bottom, you do want to work on the sides here. Two things to point out. You want to be real careful and heat up the glass while you're taking off the sides. Depending on how your screen cracks, you might pull some shards of glass. That's okay. You want to pull them real slow. Remember, when you heat up the screen, you're liquefying the glue and it'll just come off real smooth. Just be real careful you don't break anything in the process. You'll notice here as I'm taking it off, the plastic breaks off. If that happens to you, work on the other side. That's why I like to work from the bottom so we can pull it off as one whole solid piece. And just continue to heat up the phone every 20-30 seconds. I like to hit the back of the LCD so that I don't cause any discoloration or burn marks on the actual screen. Alright, notice here while we're doing it, there's that shard of glass. If that happens, no big deal. You're not going to want to continue to pry up on that plastic because you might break the LCD. So just real easy, heat up the screen and get something in between the digitizer and the screen. I'm sorry, the glass. You can use an isosamo tool, which is what I'm using here. If you don't have an isosamo tool and you've never even heard of what I'm talking about, that's fine. You can use a playing card. I like using playing cards. I'm just using this for the purpose of taking this off real smooth here. But you'll see when we get to the actual glass, I'd rarely use this tool to get in between there. And don't let this repair intimidate you. It's not very difficult to do. This is just heat and pull, and it'll eventually come off. Don't worry guys, if you're bored of hearing me talk, I got my DJ setting up some music for you. It's coming right up. Alright, now that's over. Sorry I don't have a good DJ. Once you take off the rest of the plastic bezel frame, once you get to this top part, you're going to want to get something sharp like a razor blade. Be real careful when you're up there. If you notice there's those two ribbon cables, and right exactly there where I have my knife, there's that backlight ribbon cable. Just heat it up and you should be able to get it in there real quick. There's not a lot of glue in between that plastic and bezel frame. Take off the plastic camera holder and sensors. You want to set those aside and use them on your new glass. Alright guys, we're finally going to take off that terrible broken screen you've had on your phone. I like to put some tape on the actual glass. It's a technique I learned after doing this for a while. The purpose of it is so that it holds on to all those tiny shards of glass and it'll keep it from running in underneath the glue, and then where you're trying to clean it, it'll scratch the actual LCD. So just use the tape. To get in between the glass, you can use a couple things. You can use a playing card, the metal razor blades. I like to use these metal wires. It keeps everything nice and clean. All you really much have to do is just heat up the phone and do one quick pull on either side. Do it a couple of times and it'll all come off as one solid piece. Once you see it becomes more difficult to pull all that glue through, heat up the screen a little bit more. You don't want to crack it. And just continue to heat the screen here, like I said, every 20-30 seconds. I haven't talked about how hot you want to get the screen. Notice I got my fingers on it for a couple seconds. That should be hot enough. If you do have a temperature gun, you want to keep it between 80 and 90 degrees Celsius. If you're not using a metal wire like I'm using here and you're using a playing card, you want to make sure you work on the corners of the phone. You don't want to push it all as one solid piece because you can cause a lot of pressure on the digitizer and end up breaking the screen. By the way, guys, if you like this video and that was helpful, please go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'd really like to make some videos for you guys in the future. If you guys have any trouble looking for any of these tools, go ahead and click on the description. I try to organize them as good as possible, starting from the ones I use first to the tools all the way at the end. And you want to make sure that when you're doing this repair, don't just buy the glass. You're going to always need to change the bezel frame. It's very rare that the bezel frame comes off without breaking. Just keep that in mind. And if you guys have any questions or concerns while you're doing your repair, please go ahead and comment. I'm here to help you guys. I want you guys to fix your phone. I don't think it's very difficult. If I did, I wouldn't make the video for you guys. So once you got that pretty much taken off, notice why I tell you guys to put the tape. See how it all comes off as one piece. You know, you're not going to have all those shards of glass everywhere and taking them off one by one and probably breaking your screen. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the leftover adhesive off the digitizer. If you can take a sticker off the window of your car when you park illegally where you're not supposed to, you can take this off. It's very easy to do it. A lot of people think it's difficult. It is not. The only thing you have to make sure to do is to heat up that glue nice and hot. Remember, don't pass 90 degrees. If you don't have a temperature gun, just make sure when you touch it with your finger stays stuck to that glue. You'll know it's nice and hot. Grab that plastic razor blade and take all that residue and leftover glue off of that LCD. Don't be nervous doing this part. It's not difficult as long as you heat up the screen. This is very time consuming. I'm going to speed it up here and I'm going to set you guys up with some tunes. Hope you guys like the music. Anyways, that white strip up there is the one you want to be real careful with. Don't touch it. I don't know what it does. I just know that whenever I do mess with it, something goes wrong with the phone. I think it has something to do with the connections. If anybody knows what it does, comment, let me know. Once you have most of the residue off with that plastic razor blade, grab a paper towel. Use anything above 90% alcohol. You don't want to use anything under that. It won't dry fast enough and you don't want to end up wetting your backlight. And just go ahead here, heat up the screen just a little bit more and use the paper towel and get all the gunk, all the residue off of it. I used to spend a lot of time cleaning these LCDs and it's not necessary. As soon as you put the Loca Glue on there, all the streaks and everything that's left over will come right off and it'll sit well. Just get it clean enough where you don't have any bubbles, you don't have any dust, you don't have any residue, nothing at all on there. Alright, once you have that LCD nice and clean, I slowed the video down here as much as possible. This is the iPhone 6 Plus mold. You don't need to use this. I personally do, so I can have it perfectly aligned. If you do want it, like I said, it'll all be in the description. It keeps all the liquid out of the backlight as well. There's different techniques of doing it too. You can, some people put scotch tape around the backlight. Some people use some double-sided tape. Some people use Play-Doh. There's a lot of different things you can use. If you don't feel comfortable using any of those things, go with the mold. It works great. We're going to speed this back up so I can show you guys the Loca Glue that we're going to put on here. Alright, now that we explained those methods, notice how up here and on the corners you want to be real careful with the glue. Try to get it in the center as much as possible. I'm going to show you guys a pattern that I use and it works real good for me, so I don't have any liquid marks or any damages to the backlight. So just use the same pattern. If for any reason you get any bubbles while you're doing this, you'll see it happens to me right now. If you use this glue that we sell, it's a higher quality of glue, so the bubbles will pop by themselves. If you do end up buying a lower viscosity of glue, that's fine. Grab tweezers, pop out the bubbles. You should be okay. And you'll see here that you want to put the glass on starting from the bottom of the screen. When you do this, you want to do it as slow as possible. I'm not going to speed up this at all so you guys can see how long it actually took me to do this. Patience is key here. You want to make sure that you don't cause any bubbles here. If that screen drops, there's going to be a bunch of air pockets and a bunch of bubbles, and you're going to have to start all over again. So you want to just let it go from the bottom all the way to the top. I'm a little overly concentrated here, just making sure I don't get any bubbles. You can see it starts sliding all the way to the top. If it starts moving fast, lift up the screen just a tiny bit. It's just a little tip so you guys don't end up messing it up. Okay, once it sits there nice and good, you're going to want to leave it alone for a little bit. A lot of people usually go and push it down, so you see I'm pointing out all the air pockets. It might be your first instinct to do it. Don't. You're going to end up pushing liquid into the backlight and you're going to mess it up. Just leave it alone for 10-20 minutes, as long as you have to, until the liquid goes and gets to all the corners. Alright, after 10 minutes of leaving it alone, if you notice there's only that one air pocket there in the center. I'll turn this around here so you can see it better. Just leave it alone. If it doesn't go down, push it a little bit. I'm drying here with the UV light. It's the only way to cure these phones. You can also leave it out in the sun. That's another method I've heard. If you don't have the UV light, just leave it out in the sun for a little bit and leave it there drying. Alright, we're almost done here. The final and easiest part, put some super glue on your bezel frame. You can use a Q-tip. I happen to have this metal tool. I always use a Q-tip though. It's easier for me. Place it on there and that's it. That's all you have to do. I'll turn it on here for you guys to see. Alright guys, here's a phone. 3 scenarios could have happened. 1, you fixed it and it looks great. 2, you got some liquid in the backlight, which if that happens, you can go to a repair shop. They shouldn't charge you much to do a backlight replacement. Number 3, you broke the digitizer. They should be running around the $100. I'll have a video of how to just do that. It's much easier than doing the glass only repair, and you'll still have saved money than going originally to a repair shop. Go ahead and check on the description below, see if there's any parts or tools that can help you out. I have iPhone 6 and 6 Plus parts down there. Please subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment. Thanks a lot, YouTube.